Six Mafia. Whoa, hey, yeah. Whoa, say what? Whoa, 3-6 Mafia. It's going down. Y'all know what time it is. We ain't playing with you. In the club, in the street. Shut up! Y'all know what time it is. Get ready for it. Oh, man alive. Wait to be quick. Step up, bring it. Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to No B.S. Season 3, Episode 1. Brand new beginnings on the network. So excited to be on this episode of No B.S. Season 3. Isaiah, how are you doing tonight?
Trevor, it's so good to begin another season of No BS. This is season 3 of No BS. Unfortunately, Callan is not going to be with us until September. It's really sad. It's a really big loss, but hey, we will hold down the fort for him until he manages to come back onto the MI6 Sports Network. We actually have like a visual on the air that we will be showing from time to time, which is days without Callan. I don't know if Trevor, you're right there.
Days without Callan.
Yes, that is one day without our comrade Callan McClurg. So Callan, if you're watching, we miss you, man. Good luck out there, man. Go crush it, and we will hold down the fort for you. But very excited for season 3. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, man. A lot of coaching news, a lot of topics regarding the upcoming NFL playoff games. We've got my Phillies making a move finally for the first time in what it seems like years. And then I can't wait for the Power 5. So let's get this going.
Fantastic. We're going to try to keep this up to date as we progress days without Cal until he comes back to us. I know when I get back into Columbus, Ohio, I'll bring out the whiteboard and put some tally marks on it to just be like, hey guys, days without Callan on a whiteboard, and just erase the number as time progresses. So can't wait to see how many days we get up to and the day that he makes his appearance. If he makes it early, we're going to have to restart from 0 and do more days without Callan from the beginning. So if he makes a comment, I don't know if we're going to make the change the rule. Anytime he makes a comment, we kind of restart the day, but we'll just have to wait and see depending on our rules. But I think it's going to be more of that is if he's on the show, that's when we're going to have to restart the count. But we'll have to wait and see in how many days we can go before Callan returns. But Firmin, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. It's definitely going to be different without Callan as our first day, our first show without him. But I'm glad we have the counter going because there's a lot of topics to cover, and let's see when Callan comes back as we continue to do more and more No BS episodes every week.
All right, that is fantastic, gentlemen. Let's start going into our tonight's segment. We're going to dive in a little bit of the NFL. So almost sort of like breaking news, but it's not really. That Urban Meyer has, decided to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars as the head coach. So this is a lot of really interesting developing for this organization, though it's not the best team for him to, take and grow and build up. There's some key pieces there, but it's not ideally for a new coach rolling in. And people are going to set high expectations for Urban Meyer saying, oh, he has to get into the playoffs. He has to do all these great things and be there first time. For me, I'm going to set low expectations. Get a wild card seat. I understand they say you got to get to the playoffs or have a winning season or finish 8-8. You don't have to make the playoffs. Just have a good, solid year and start turning some heads. That's all I would say that Urban Meyer has to do. But I want to hear Isaiah's take. What is your take on Urban Meyer being a Jacksonville Jaguars head coach?
Well, Trevor, first of all, I want to applaud Urban Meyer for having the courage to jump from college to the NFL after an extremely successful college coaching career. A lot of these college coaches who have had a ton of success in college, they don't have the guts to go to the next level and try it out because, they are so used to having so much success in college that they are afraid that they will go to the NFL and then they will fall flat on their face and they will fail. But I think that Urban Meyer made the right decision because he's already a very, very accomplished head coach, and he's already accomplished all that needs to be accomplished in college football. It is time for a new challenge for him. And like Rich Eisen said on his show yesterday, whatever happens in the NFL for Urban Meyer, I really don't think that it will have a bad impact on Urban Meyer's legacy. If he wins, great. It will just make him one of the greatest football coaches of all time. But if he struggles and he stinks it up, nobody's really is going to remember what Urban Meyer did in the NFL. Everybody's just going to be like, fine, he's just a college coach. He's a great college coach. He's not a pro head coach, just like Nick Saban. Nick Saban had lots of success, whether it was at Michigan State or LSU or at Alabama. But when he went to the NFL, he struggled. He was 15-17 with the Miami Dolphins, jumped right back into Alabama and started winning national championships after national championships. Do anybody remember what Nick Saban did with the Miami Dolphins? Maybe like very rarely do people talk about it, but people don't really bring up what Nick Saban did in the NFL. They just bring up what Nick Saban did in college football. But Trevor, in terms of this hire for the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think that this is a fantastic hire by the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's a lot of people out there that are saying that Urban Meyer will not work in the NFL, and he will probably be out of there in about 3 years. But I got to disagree with that sentiment. I think that Urban Meyer landing in Jacksonville is a tremendous, or landing in Jacksonville for him is a tremendous spot because, first of all, he's going to have a guy that many people consider is a once-in-a-generational type talent in Trevor Lawrence coming in to be his quarterback. And that is huge because a lot of these college coaches, one of the things that they struggle with when they jump to the NFL from college is they don't have a great signal caller. And in the NFL, you have to have a good or great quarterback to be able to win games at the next level. And Urban Meyer, he has that in Trevor Lawrence. Also, in addition to the number one pick, they've got 11 draft picks that can be building blocks for this football team. You add that to an already pretty decent core there in Jacksonville with James Robinson, Laviska Shenault, DJ Chark on offense, and then CJ Henderson, Josh Allen, Miles Jack anchoring the defense. And by the way, not to mention $100 million in salary cap space, which they can use to further improve their ball club via free agency. As long as Urban Meyer hires a great coaching staff filled with experienced NFL guys and delegates responsibilities to his assistant coaches, I believe that Urban Meyer will have success in the NFL. I love this hire for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I honestly would not be shocked if the Jaguars were to win the AFC South in 3 years, because right now, if you look at the division, you got the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts, they've got a great defense, but we do not know what the Colts are going to do at quarterback. Are they going to re-sign Phillip Rivers, or are they going to go back to Jacoby Brissett, or maybe trade for Carson Wentz? We have no idea what the Colts are going to do at quarterback, and until we find out what they do, there will be question marks that linger for them at that position. The Texans are in flux. Deshaun Watson and the team are not on speaking terms, and he wants out. Plus, their salary cap is going to be held for the next couple of years, and they don't have draft picks, so I don't see the Texans winning the division or even getting close to winning that division. The Tennessee Titans, I'm not impressed with their defense. Ever since they traded away Jarrell Casey to the Denver Broncos, they have struggled mightily in terms of stopping the run and also the pass when it comes to their defense. I still do not buy the Ryan Tannehill hype train. I know that he was really good this past season, but hey, look what he did in the playoffs against the Baltimore Ravens. After Baltimore shut down Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill struggled in that football game. I think that if you shut down Derrick Henry and you make Ryan Tannehill have to beat you, I really don't believe he can beat you. And with all the stuff that the Jaguars have, the cap space, Trevor Lawrence, you have also not to mention no state income tax in Florida, which will, be able to help them attract a lot of these marquee free agents, and the 11 draft picks that they have. I think the Jaguars are well positioned to be contenders in the AFC South in about 3 years after Urban Meyer installs that culture.
Very good, Isaiah. Before I get to Firmin, I kind of want to bring up Cal McClurig's comment. He is watching you, Isaiah, so make sure you don't change your picks when we do our pick'ems tonight, all right? And then I'll continue with some of our comments. Kirsty Wilson says it the best. Very few coaches from college are successful in the NFL. You can't be wrong with that because it's not the same system, because you're not bringing in, guys around the country with a brand name such as Ohio State, Alabama, LSU in the Power Five. And if you're already a well-named coach, for example, like Urban Meyer, he coached Florida to a national championship game and coached Tim Tebow as a Heisman Trophy winner. So that name will attract young talent. In the NFL, money talks. So at this point in time, it's like you can draft any of the best players depending where you are and move up in the draft. But at the end of the day, only players will come where there's either potential chance to win championships or enough money to entice them to come over. And another comment by Kirsty Wilson, I'll definitely read it, is Urban Meyer can be successful in Jacksonville if he's able to get the right players and the right coaching staff to help him be successful. Yeah, that's a basic building blocks of being a successful coach. So I'll go to Firmin off of that comment. What do you think about Urban Meyer's destination to Jacksonville? And do you think he's going to be successful, or will he crumble and fall apart in the NFL?
To be honest, I'm not too sure, given the history of how college head coaches usually translate to the NFL, as we've seen in the last recent years. But however, I think Jacksonville has a really good core right now, because I think they've got a pretty good players on their roster right now that can be developed. And plus, they have the number 1 pick, and Trevor Lawrence is probably going to be drafted for unanimously, with whoever's going to get that number 1 pick. So right now, Jacksonville's in a good position. They also have good cap space. A lot of the players that they draft, for some reason in the past, they always get rid of them early before contract negotiations. So hopefully Urban Meyer can flip that switch and turn this organization around and really build this team around key players. I don't have too many expectations for Urban Meyer because, like I said, a lot of the college head coaches do really well in college football, but like everyone else has mentioned already, it's a different system. It's a completely different workaround when you're in the NFL, when you have to negotiate with a lot of other extracurriculars such as contract talks, monies, agents. So a lot of this stuff is going to have a lot of burden on coaches like Urban Meyer if he wants to transition to the NFL, which is why I don't expect him to have a lot of success within the first few years in the AFC. Although Isaiah did mention that their division right now, they have Houston, they have the Colts, and they have the Tennessee Titans. And I feel like a lot of those teams, actually all 3 of those teams except the Titans, are in rebuilding phase right now. So any of these teams in that division could emerge, and Urban Meyer can definitely be one of them. However, we've seen in the past with previous college head coaches like Nick Saban, he did really well in LSU, won them the national title, but once he went to Miami, it didn't really translate as well as he'd like to. But he went back to Ohio State right after. He went to Alabama right after that, after he had negotiations, and now Alabama, he's found so much success. So I'm kind of predicting a similar type of transition for Urban Meyer, because I don't know how well his offense especially is going to work in the NFL, even with Trevor Lawrence. And unlike what Isaiah said, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to be that one generational type of quarterback coming out of college. You're going to have to really develop him and use him well as utilize him with the proper weapons. So that's a lot to consider for Urban Meyer. And in the NFL, if he runs a spread offense, I don't think he'll find too much success. So hopefully he kind of changes things around in his offense and figures another scheme that ties closely to the NFL compared to what he always did in Ohio State. So yeah, to sum it up, the the previous college football head coaches like Nick Saban and Chip Kelly, they did not have success in the NFL, and vice versa. NFL and college football are two completely different they're two completely different systems. So even if you succeed in the NFL, like Jim Harbaugh, it doesn't necessarily mean they'll find the same success transitioning to another organization like Jim Harbaugh did in Michigan. So it's very interesting to see how this will turn out for Urban Meyer.
Yeah. And also for our viewers, make sure, go to our Facebook page and comment in the, in our comment section, as well as look at our Facebook polls and vote if Urban Meyer will be successful in the NFL. Let me read some comments before we sort of transition into our next topic for tonight. So Kirsty Wilson said, not every coach can be like Jimmy Johnson, a college coach who did succeed in the NFL. That is very true, because Jimmy Johnson, took that elite Cowboy squad to a Super Bowl with Emmitt Smith and company and took care of business. Casey King says he doesn't see Urban Meyer lasting in the NFL. So he's going to give him 2 years at most, but we'll see how it goes. It's going to be very interesting at this point. That division is so open in the water. It really dictates on who could possibly be it. Most people would say Titans can win it since they have that strong run game and can dominate the clock. So you could see them winning a lot of their games since they can do really well in clock management. And then you could see Jacksonville maybe making a surge, but it really depends on how the draft really goes and what Urban Meyer can pick up in this offseason. And then obviously our producer, Stephen Wang, sorry, but I don't see Urban Meyer succeeding in the NFL. As much as I respect him in college, yeah, it's really tough. It's not the same bringing in the top 5 recruits. And if your program was already hot or just made a quick rebound, you have that brand loyalty as Ohio State. You can easily recruit anybody and say, I'll take you to a national championship within the 4 years that you're at the university. And most college students will probably believe you if you say that. Isaiah, so you have something.
Yeah, Trevor, I just wanted to say a couple of things. Number one, Nick Saban, the reason why he struggled in the NFL as opposed to college football was because Nick Saban acted like a dictator. It was either his way or the highway for those Miami Dolphins players. Nick Saban, that was how it is for Nick Saban when it came to LSU, Michigan State, Toledo, and now in Alabama. That's how it is in college. Coaches can run the program their way or the highway. In the NFL, you cannot do that. It's a players' league. The players dictate whatever is going on. They have their way in the NFL. Look at Deshaun Watson. That's why I think Deshaun Watson is ultimately going to get traded, because the players have all the power in the NFL. So Urban Meyer, when he goes to the NFL, when he starts coaching the Jacksonville Jaguars, he cannot have that my way or the highway type of approach, because if he does that, I guarantee you it will not work, and he will be driven out of Jacksonville in a couple of years. And so the second thing is, I think Stevens brought up a point about he doesn't see that Urban Meyer is going to work in the NFL. He said in our MI6 host group chat that he doesn't think Urban Meyer is going to work in the NFL because he runs that spread offense. Well, Steven, I'll tell you this. The spread offense has actually kind of worked in the NFL. You look at Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray. They run that spread system, and they've kind of had success running it in the NFL. They put up a lot of points, with Murray, Hopkins, Kenyon Drake, Larry Fitzgerald, and those guys. So I don't really think that if Urban Meyer comes in and runs the spread, I don't think that it will really hinder him from success. I just think that what he has to do to be able to have success is just to have a different approach than the my way or the highway type of approach that you see in college football.
Yeah, Isaiah, you had some really fantastic takes there. It's going to take a lot more effort than it's my way or the highway in the NFL. Just too many moving parts. And you can say college is one-dimensional. It's just like, if the school was within the national championship in the college football playoffs within the last, 4 to 5 years, you could probably make a campaign push and say we can reach the national championship again without, any questions asked, and most people wouldn't bat an eye. But I know Firmin had a couple questions not a couple questions, but a couple more comments to add on to it. So Firmin, put your comments out there.
All right, so I have one more concern about Urban Meyer's decision to Jacksonville, because you never know, because he's always had some health issues with him, and my biggest concern is that he's gonna pull a Gary Kubiak in the NFL within the next 2 or 3 years. He's done it in Ohio State already, so you can't really have too many guarantees on how long he's gonna stay coaching for Jacksonville. Just like Gary Kubiak, right after he won the Super Bowl, he had to take a gap year off and before actually heading into the organization instead of the actual head coaching job. So Urban Meyer already has a broadcasting career lined up. So he has a lot of alternatives right now for his career. And my biggest concern is his health right now. I hope that he will continue to stay healthy and will continue to lead this Jacksonville team within the next few years and hopefully win the division one day.
Yep, fantastic, gentlemen. Let's move on to our next topic for tonight. So the Jets hired Robert Saleh as the head coach. For me, the Jets are in shambles. Like, your goal was to get, Urban Meyer to come in, try to rebuild you guys. But that division is going to be run by Josh Allen for the next 3 to 5 years at this point, because Miami is in shambles. They can't figure out what quarterback. Bill Belichick has a salary cap to make something big and build up another Patriots dynasty, but we have to see what this offseason unfolds and how he does in the draft. And then you just have, the Jets at that point. So it's really, just Josh Allen's to take. But what do you guys think of this hiring for the Jets? And is it the steps in the right direction, or are we just going to watch another couple of years where the Jets suck and be like 2-14 or 3-13 for the next few seasons? But I'll go to Isaiah. What do you think about this?
Well, Trevor, honestly, if you had asked me yesterday when the news broke, I would have said that I love the hire by the New York Jets because I think that Robert Saleh is a tremendous head coach. But I'm kind of waffling, Trevor. I'm waffling on my take. I think that I'm kind of on the fence about this hire because I think that Robert Saleh will have some success with the New York Jets. I like the New York Jets for making this move because when Adam Gase got fired, I said the Jets needed to stop going with the hot defensive mind or the hot offensive play caller. No, they needed a guy that could be a true head coach, a guy that can lead men, and a guy that can galvanize the troops. Robert Saleh is a guy that can, he's a true head coach. He's a guy that can lead men. He can galvanize the troops. He brings tremendous energy on the sidelines. You saw what he did in San Francisco with his rah-rah moments that he had on that they showed on TV. But I just don't like him going to the New York Jets. New York is a very, very tough media market for any head coach, especially for a first-time head coach when you're not used to being a head coach. So that's what my biggest worry is for Robert Saleh. As far as their offense is concerned, Robert Saleh is a defensive-minded head coach. I think he's going to do a pretty good job with that defense. But the offense, I'm not sure because he's going to bring in Mike LaFleur, who is the current 49ers passing game coordinator, the brother of Packers head coach Matt LaFleur. We don't know how Mike LaFleur is when it comes to designing a game plan, calling plays, and developing quarterbacks. That's what the Jets need, and we just don't have any evidence to suggest what kind of coach Mike LaFleur really is. So I'm kind of on the fence about it. I obviously thought that Saleh deserved a head coaching job, but I really wish it wasn't New York. I wish it was like Detroit or a market that he could have some struggles with. Because let's face it, he's going to struggle for the first 2 seasons rebuilding the Jets. And, in New York, they are very, very impatient. So are they going to turn on him in the 2 years when he's like, let's say he goes 2-14 his first year, and then the next year he's like 3-13. You have a 1-win improvement. Are they going to turn on him and then fire him and start the process all over again? For Robert Saleh's sake, I just don't think going to New York was a good fit for him.
Yeah. But yeah, you make some great points there. And Casey King says that he thinks it's a good hire. He deserves a shot, but it's really going to be if the front office makes smart decisions for him and gets better players. So that's going to be the bottom line. So I'll go to Firmin. What do you think? Is this a good hire for the Jets? Does he deserve this opportunity? Or did the Jets just waste their time and they're tanking for something greater down the line?
I think it's a good hire from the Jets because Robert Saleh has shown a lot of character when he was with the 49ers. He's a defensive coordinator, but he really loves his organization. He really loves his team. You could tell that even the players love to see how he's always ecstatic on the field. He's celebrating with them. He's having fun with them. And at the same time, he's building a really strong culture around the 49ers defense. So if any of this stuff translates to the Jets, I don't see too many issues with that, because even though the Jets they were 2-14 this season, they haven't had their best successes. It's not impossible to turn any team around. And I feel like for the Jets right now, obviously their main issue is the offense, and they don't really have anything going there. They're sort of in like this rebuilding mindset. But if Robert Saleh is able to continue to work with the front office to add more acquisitions, especially on defense, and just slowly train the players to be more disciplined into his scheme, I think it will work out. I think the Jets will be more than a decent team moving forward. The only issue with Robert Saleh is that he's relatively new. Obviously, it's a risky pick for him to become a head coach for the Jets. However, we've seen successes with the New York Jets with defensive-minded coaches. The first one is the most obvious one, Rex Ryan. He brought the Jets to 2 straight AFC championships and beat out a lot of great teams, including the New England Patriots back then. So, and their offense with Mark Sanchez, you don't even have to talk about it, because it was really bad. It was made up mostly of just the run game, and obviously they still had success. Same thing with Todd Bowles under Ryan Fitzpatrick. They didn't make the playoffs that one year, but they went 10-6. So with this culture with the Jets, I think historically they've been pretty good defensively. I think that if Robert Saleh decides to get LaFleur's offense and establish that onto the Jets play style, I think it'll work out really well, because he can mix in the run and passes and balance out the clock for his team, especially on defense. But over the years, I think it'll take him time to develop the Jets team as of now, because of where they're in right now. I think within 2 to 3 years, we'll see some good success in the organization, and I think the Jets should definitely give Robert Saleh a shot at it.
All right, fantastic takes by you and Isaiah for you, Firmin and Isaiah. But let's move on to our next topic, gentlemen. So the next topic is, who is the better quarterback to build your team around, Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson? For me personally, I know Lamar Jackson has the wheels. He'll get down the field, and he's your mobile quarterback. But looking at the last few playoff games, I would put my money on Josh Allen. I've been saying it at the beginning of the year. I'll say it again. I got to keep the same energy. So Josh Allen has been like that complete quarterback this year. He made leaps and bounds. He didn't have his, wild card nightmare where he melts down and loses the game. He literally put the Buffalo Bills on his back to win that game. So high props to him. He's that quarterback that he can throw the ball. He can hit your, wide receivers down the field without a problem. He can hand the ball off well, can run nice, solid play action. He's just a great quarterback all the way around. No any issues. It's just like a great quarterback. But I'll go to Isaiah. Who would you pick as a quarterback to just build your team around, Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson?
Trevor, I will agree with you. I'm going to go with Josh Allen primarily because the NFL is a passing league. Yes, Lamar Jackson probably is the fastest man in the NFL. He might be the most shiftiest in the NFL, but he can't throw the football. I mean, that's the biggest questions that we have with Lamar Jackson. When teams put a spy in the middle of the field and stack the box to stop that Ravens running game and make Lamar Jackson beat them with his arm, he can't. And whenever teams are up big on the Ravens and the Ravens have to have Lamar use his arm to try to get them to come back, he can't. So Josh Allen, he was a pretty good runner the first couple of years of his NFL career. He was a very shifty runner as well the first couple of years of his NFL career. But this season, he has really developed as a pocket passer. He has looked good throwing the football. He has a cannon of an arm. I just think with that great arm, the precision that he has when it comes to passing the football, and also his running abilities and the shiftiness of Josh Allen, he's the total package. Give me Josh Allen. I will take Josh Allen to build my football team around all day over Lamar Jackson.
2 for Josh Allen. Firmin, what about you? Who would you go with, Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson?
I'm going to have to agree with all of you guys. I think we need a quarterback that you trust the most in terms of passing. So I'm going to have to go with Josh Allen. It's definitely not the best. It's tough between these two because Josh Allen, in my opinion, is a spoiled quarterback. Right now with the Bills, they built a really strong offensive line around him, and they also acquired Stephon Diggs. So, like I said, he's a lot more mobile than Jimmy G, but when he has 5 to 6 seconds to throw in the pocket, he literally has all the time in the world right now to make the best passes. And I feel like that is the best quarterback to develop if you're able to see him thrive behind a strong offensive line. Even when the offensive line is breaking down and it's not having its best days, we know that Josh Allen is mobile, and if he can fix his throws under pressure to be more accurate, or throws on the run to be more accurate, it's definitely going to help him a lot long term, especially for the Bills. And in contrast, I know Lamar Jackson's a really strong quarterback right now. Ever since he's been the starter for the Ravens offense has been really, really, they're really, really hot right now. But the biggest issue with Lamar Jackson's offense is what Isaiah said. They rely way too much on the run and Lamar Jackson's feet to get moving. And that's gonna hurt your team if you can't pass. And Lamar Jackson has shown a lot of struggles with his passing ability in the NFL, and at times you've seen him make a lot of bad decisions or a couple of inaccurate throws that would cost them the game. Their offense right now works really well because if they can establish a strong momentum or a strong lead, as well as tie it up with really good defensive performances, as you've seen them do right now, it's going to lead to a really good, successful ball club. However, like I said before, if Lamar Jackson's down 21-0, or if he's down 2 to 3 possessions super early, starting from the first half, he's going to have to everyone's going to have to, he's going to have to be forced to pass the ball like a lot more often in the second half. And if he's going to rely on the run to come back while being down 2 to 3 possessions, that's just not going to do it. You're going to have to rely on your pass more often, and that's where the biggest trust issue is for me, at least for Lamar Jackson. I don't know if I can trust him on that and rely on him and develop him into that type of NFL quarterback for a franchise. So we've seen a lot of successes as well with other QBs like Michael Vick, RG3's rookie season, but once again, you can't really rely 100% on your legs. You got to be able to thread the needle in times where you really need to. And my last concern for Lamar Jackson is if he gets older and he's still running this type of power run offense, it's a really huge risk for him because he might get hurt in one of these plays, and it's very likely that in my opinion, that he'll get hurt more often than a passing quarterback that's within the pocket.
Yeah, I couldn't say it well enough. Like, he's putting himself in that risk just running the ball up and down the field versus if you're a pocket passer, the only injury you're going to really suffer is, getting sacked. And we've seen what happens when a quarterback gets sacked. Some of those injuries are pretty bad, but just imagine if they were running and getting smacked against a linebacker. So it could be, 10 times worse than what a typical sack would be. But let me go to some of our comments and see what our viewers would pick. So Kirsty Wilson's going to go with Josh Allen, and Casey King is going to go with Josh Allen as well. So it seems like a Josh Allen bandwagon for here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll keep you up to date on what's going to go on. So let's go into, our next segment is, the QBs, besides the QB factors for the Saints and Bucs game, Tom Brady and Drew Brees. The question is, what's the biggest X factor in that game besides the quarterback position? I'm going to have to go with the Saints running back, Alvin Kamara. He's been phenomenal this season, though last game he had COVID and he couldn't really play in it. If he's able to come back and be full strength, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have to watch literally like a dual threat with Michael Thomas running over top and Alvin Kamara running up the middle. So if he's not able to play in this game, it now makes the Saints almost one-dimensional, makes it a lot more interesting. But if he's able to play in this game, it's a wrap, and then the Saints will take it. Before I go to you, Isaiah, we have a lovely message for you. Callum Cleric says he is watching you. You better not change your pick for the Tampa Bay and Saints game. So, Isaiah, what do you have to say for yourself, and what do you think is the X factor in this game?
Well, don't worry. We are not picking the games now. We're saving that for the Pigskin Pick'em segment that is going to be happening later on in the show. But Trevor, Firmin, I got to go with Carlton Davis. Carlton Davis, the cornerback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and also Sean Murphy-Bunting, who's also another cornerback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Those two guys are going to be the number 1 and number 2 corners of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday against Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders. Those two guys did not play well last week against the Washington football team. I know that Sean Murphy-Bunting had that one interception against Taylor Heineke, but last week, when I watched the Buccaneers defense play against the Washington football team, when Todd Bowles kept dialing up the blitz, but when the blitz wasn't coming home against Taylor Heineke, Taylor Heineke was torching those Buccaneers secondaries. He was torching their linebackers. I mean, every time you would see like either 1 or 2 or 3 Washington football team wide receivers or tight ends wide open, it was an embarrassment. They got to fix that, because I've been saying this for like the entire week. If you play like that against Taylor Heineke, you could get away with it. But if you play like that against Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers, they're going to torch you and put up 50 on you. So that secondary, the linebackers for Tampa Bay, they got to get their act together if they want to win this game on Sunday and advance to the next round. Carlton Davis, he's going to be going up against Michael Thomas. In week 1, he held Michael Thomas to a career low 17 yards receiving on 3 receptions. He's got to replicate the same performance that he had in week 1 on Sunday. Sean Murphy-Bunting will be going up against, I believe, Emmanuel Sanders. He's got to do the same thing. And also, one more X factor. I know, Trevor, you said only 1, but I got 3 for you. Levante David and Devin White. Those linebackers, y'all better have Alvin Kamara covered out of the backfield, because if those cornerbacks are doing a good job against those wide receivers for the New Orleans Saints, but Alvin Kamara is able to leak out of the backfield and catch like screen passes from Drew Brees, you guys are going to be in for a very, very long night. Those are my X factors for Tampa Bay if they want to win that game.
All right, Firmin, what about you? What are your X factors in this game? I feel like you're going to have like a long list like Isaiah, so lay it on us if you have a long list.
Well, actually, it's really similar to what Isaiah had just said. So first off, I'm going to have to start with Alvin Kamara. If you guys haven't realized, the Saints literally ran the Matt Nagy offense back in 2018. Remember that year when Tariq Cohen had the most receiving yards for the Bears? Well, this year they did not have Michael Thomas healthy, so Alvin Kamara actually had the most receiving yards for the Saints. So if you want to stop the Saints offense, you're going to have to stop Alvin Kamara as well. He's a dual threat right now, and it's really, really scary, to see how he's been utilized with the Saints offense. I know you guys keep talking about Drew Brees and Tom Brady as being the huge, X factors in play, but it's actually Alvin Kamara. Drew Brees, in my opinion, yes, he did get hurt as well, and however, he didn't really contribute too much to this offense. It was mostly just strictly Alvin Kamara this season. However, Michael Thomas just came back healthy this season, and now he is going to be a huge concern for the Tampa Bay Bucks because the New Orleans Saints blew out the Bucks 38-3 their second game. And even in their first game, the Tampa Bay defense just had no answer for this team. So there's going to be a whole lot of issues I could already foresee for the Tampa Bay Bucks. And if you're going to have Kamara back, Michael Thomas back, and Emmanuel Sanders on the wideouts, it's going to be a field day. I think there's going to be a lot of trouble for Tampa Bay because they haven't faced this type of team yet. They faced the Matt Nagy version of the Saints, and they still got blown out in one of those games. So that turns my attention once again to what Isaiah had mentioned before. Carlton Davis and Sean Murphy Bunting from the Bucks. They need to step it up against these wideouts, and they have to outperform Emmanuel Sanders and Michael Thomas on these one-on-one routes, because even slant routes, obviously, because Drew Brees, he's a really good quarterback. It's going to be very difficult for especially Tampa Bay's offense to find their rhythm early if your defense isn't going to give them the opportunities to do so.
All right, guys, that is a perfect way to end our NFL segment. Now let's transition into the game of basketball. We all know what happened recently. James Harden has been added to the Brooklyn Nets. People say this is going to become a super team, but this is more like a reality TV show with drama, with Kyrie Irving not really playing for this organization. Kevin Durant is really leading this team. And now you have James Harden, who's not really in the best of shape. So it's really going to be interesting. Is this like the first ever super team that is not going to actually be a successful super team to be an NBA championship contender if they don't pull their acts together? Obviously, if they pull their acts together, yes, they're going to be a team that can contend. But if they don't, it's going to be like a super team that became a bust. And I don't know when the last time we had a super team that became a bust. But I'll go to Isaiah. What do you think about this becoming a super team that turns into a bust?
I hope my guy Callum McClurg is not watching because, he said, don't change your picks, Isaiah, but he never mentioned anything about don't change your take. So I'm going to go ahead and change my take. And that is, I knew that was going to make you laugh, Trevor.
Why are you trying to
if the Brooklyn Nets can get their act together, if Kyrie can snap out of whatever he's going through right now, and if they can come together and find their chemistry, that's very important. If they can find their chemistry, yes, the Brooklyn Nets are the team to beat in the Eastern Conference because right now you got three superstars. You got Kevin Durant, you got James Harden, and you've got Kyrie Irving, who when he is right, when Kyrie Irving is right, Kyrie Irving is one of the best point guards in the NBA. But if they can find their chemistry, I believe that the Brooklyn Nets, damn, I almost called them the New Jersey Nets, but the Brooklyn Nets are the best team to beat in the Eastern Conference. You look at all the teams right now in the East. Boston, I haven't been a believer in the Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker trio. I don't think that you can win with that trio. They don't have a big in the middle that can stop DeAndre Jordan. Like, let's not forget, guys, DeAndre Jordan, when he was not with the Clippers, but with the Mavericks and with the Knicks, he was still a pretty decent center. So I expect that DeAndre Jordan, with a lot of the defensive attention being on Kyrie Irving, on Kevin Durant, on James Harden. I think DeAndre Jordan is going to have a lot of opportunities to go back to being the DeAndre Jordan with the Los Angeles Clippers, being that beast of a center that he was. And then you look at Milwaukee, Giannis, Drew Holiday. I'm not going to buy into Milwaukee until they show me that they can win in the postseason because they always choke in the playoffs. A couple of years ago, they choked to the Raptors despite having a 2-0 lead in that series. And then last season with that stunning upset to the Miami Heat. I think right now it's only between Miami and Brooklyn, and I got to give the upper hand to Brooklyn because of their 3 superstars. I just don't know how Miami will be able to guard James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving on the same team. But this is only if they can get their chemistry together. If not, then all bets are off for the Brooklyn Nets.
Isaiah, there's too many ifs for this to become a reality. It's like you betting in Vegas and you're going against Vegas. That's basically what it is. But it'd be like the Isaiah jinx where something happens and you don't work. So it's like you're betting, you probably would bet with Vegas and Vegas would lose because of it. But the jinx would, prevent you from actually winning. So it's really going to be interesting what happens. But let me read some of our comments before I give you that question, though. All right. So Kirsty Wilson says the Nets are becoming a soap opera. Yes, this is a reality TV show at its finest right now. So stay tuned every week to see what happens for that organization. And then she said it the best. He's changing his stance, Callan. He's changing his stance. But and then, Casey King says he thinks the Nets are in trouble right now. And he still thinks the Bucks, Celtics, and maybe the Heat, if they are going to be the team to beat in the East. I guarantee you the 3 teams that, Casey lists are definitely the teams that are probably going to be dominating the East, and they are the teams to beat to get to the NBA championship. But I know you had a comment to add on, Isaiah. So what is your comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, listen, I think Brooklyn can come out of the East, but do I think that they can beat the Los Angeles Lakers in the NBA Finals? No way. Because, like I said earlier, there is no one that's going to be able to stop Anthony Davis. Yes, you have all these stars on the perimeter with Kyrie, KD, and James Harden, but Anthony Davis is going to have a field day and feast every time he faces the Brooklyn Nets because I don't trust DeAndre Jordan to stop Anthony Davis. Jarrett Allen, who was a pretty decent defensive center, he's now on his way to Cleveland. So you don't have a guy that can keep Anthony Davis in check. I think Brooklyn can come out of the East, but no way are they beating the Lakers. Give me the Lakers in 5.
All right. And Firmin, what about you? Are the Nets the team to beat in the East, or will the drama prevent them from being this great team and winning an NBA championship?
Yeah, so I agree with what Isaiah said about the Nets because this is a really stacked team, and I feel like the Nets are really strong this year if they have all 3 players healthy. If they have Kyrie, KD, and James Harden playing at the same time, it's definitely a really, it's a really scary team to play against. I think that's gonna definitely help them dominate the East if all 3 of these guys play together. They're also missing Spencer Dinwiddie, who I'm actually really surprised he wasn't part of the four team deals during the trade. If he's healthy and comes back next season with this roster, the Nets are going to be really, really strong. And so my biggest concern, obviously, is the team chemistry. KD, I feel like whichever team he goes to, he's always an asset. But James Harden and Kyrie, they always love to get the ball. They have they have a really condescending attitude. Obviously, Kyrie wants to be the superstar of whatever team he plays for. James Harden, same thing, really similar. He wants to basically get the ball as much as he can, and he thrives in these ISO possessions, and that's not usually how teams play. So they have to figure something out together as a trio. But if they do, it's definitely going to be a very scary team to play against. I know Christy said that the Bucks, Celtics, and the Heat are, the super teams right now in the East. However, I think if you have better shooters, you're gonna definitely have a better team. So the Nets, I think they're gonna, if all three players figure something out together, if this big three gets themselves together, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have an easy road against the Bucks because Giannis was 1 for 10 in free throws tonight, and that's not gonna help you in the playoffs. Celtics, I have to agree with Isaiah. I'm not buying into their trio right now. I think they're at their peak right now. So if they can't make it to the NBA Finals at their peak, it's not. I don't think they're going to get any better. The Heat, I kind of do think it's going to be a very tough competition for the Nets. So I'm going to move on to the final issue with the Nets. Obviously, it's with Kyrie. I don't know what's with Kyrie, but wherever team he goes to, he always seems to have problems with either the teammates, himself, and he's just hurting the team chemistry as well as the season for that team, whichever team he plays for. He's always been injury prone, or he has some weird, issues with a teammate like LeBron, or he just mysteriously disappears from games like this season. I really don't know what's going on with Kyrie right now. But if you have James Harden and Kevin Durant on the Nets right now, you cannot threaten to boycott the season or with whatever you're going through. I hope that whatever you are going through right now, mentally or with family, any issues you have, I hope that you'll get better from it. I hope that it doesn't affect you too much. Well-being is obviously my biggest concern for you, but you still have to act professional, around the league. You have to let others know how you're feeling, how you're dealing with, yourself mentally, and when you're expected to come back stronger. Because this is the NBA is a long process, and even if it's 72 games, there's a lot that you're missing out on right now, and the Nets need you ASAP. So, I hope Kyrie comes back somehow this season, because even with Harden and KD right now, I don't think the Nets are going to do well without Kyrie.
It'd be interesting if Brooklyn decided to go on the extreme end and trade away Kyrie Irving and bring Russell Wilson to bring back OKC, and they wouldn't try to make a push to win a ring. That would be one of the most interesting stories of 2021 if that ever happened. Bring the old squad back from OKC, and they face LeBron as older men in this story arc. And if they can beat them, if he can beat LeBron, I think it's a nice way to end out on their saga as becoming almost like their historical, Hall of Fame arc, where at the beginning they lose to LeBron being young, and now they're able to be an old age LeBron at this point. So it's almost like watching the Avengers unfold if they get back together at that point. But I know we have one comment in that's new. That is East Coast Gridiron Podcast. He says, "What up? Hope you're doing good, East Coast, and staying fresh during this 2021 so far." And he also has a comment. A lot of shot clock violations have happened with the Nets. Things have been happening to them, but we'll have to see what happens as the season progresses. But now we'll go on to the MLB segment. Isaiah, I'll let you take it away.
Sorry about that, Trevor. I was muted for a bit. But so for our MLB topic that we're going to get into today is the news that trickled in yesterday that the Philadelphia Phillies have signed reliever Archie Bradley to a 1-year, $6 million contract. Listen, I'm a huge Phillies fan, and I love this move for the Philadelphia Phillies because last year the Philadelphia Phillies, they had 13 blown saves. Their bullpen had a 7 ERA. Their bullpen was just a giant mess all around. From the 6th inning on, you didn't really know anybody that Joe Girardi got to come in. You didn't really know who was capable of shutting it all down. I mean, everybody that came in gave me a heart attack anytime I watched the Philadelphia Phillies. So with Archie Bradley, I like the signing for the Phillies because it's 1 year, $6 million. It's not that much money for Archie Bradley. And Archie Bradley, the last couple of years, he's been a pretty good reliever. Last year he was with the Cincinnati Reds. Archie Bradley had a 1.17 ERA. That's pretty good, especially in that ballpark. I mean, that's probably one of the most hitter-friendly ballparks in all of baseball. the year prior with the Arizona Diamondbacks. He had a 3.52 ERA, and then in 2018 he had a 3.64 ERA. But this guy's got a power fastball. He throws really hard. He throws from 94 to 98. He's got filthy off-speed stuff as well, and I think that he's going to be able to do really well in Philadelphia. I don't think he's going to be the closer for the Phillies. I think the Phillies still have to go out and get either maybe Brad Hand or an Alex Colomé to be their closer. But Bradley in the 8th inning, hey, I am totally down for that any day of the week. I think that he would be a perfect fit in the 8th inning, which would move Hector Neris to the 7th inning, which I think is a role appropriate for him. But good move by the Phillies. Glad to see that Dave Dombrowski and the Phillies are actually doing something for once. And hopefully, there was rumors coming out of Philadelphia today that they did offer JT Realmuto a 5-year, $100+ million contract. Hopefully they can get something done with him because he's one of the best catchers in all of baseball, and the Phillies, they need JT Realmuto on that ball club.
All right, Isaiah. Thank you for sharing MLB topics with us tonight. But now let's move on to our pigskin pick'ems. Yep, now we're down to the final 4 matchups in the NFL, and let's start off tonight with the Ravens and Bills game. Who do you guys have? And I can say a brief statement. Why do you have them? For me, I'll do with the Bills. I said it 2 nights ago on Wild Sports Talk. Buffalo Bills, I said at the beginning of the season, AFC Championship game, and they will lose. And that's why I'm picking the Bills in this game. Isaiah.
Well, I believe it was Wednesday, I picked the Baltimore Ravens to win that football game because I saw the weather. It's going to be heavy snow, and normally when you play in a snow game, what you have to do to win a snow game is you have to be able to run the football effectively. Plus, you have to be able to play great defense, and the Ravens are known for running the football really well with Lamar Jackson, with J.K. Dobbins, with Ingram, and also they have a great defense. Buffalo doesn't really have a great defense. The Bills' defense, I think this year was ranked number 16th in all of NFL when it came to points allowed, yards allowed per game, and stuff like that. But, Trevor, after couple of days of deliberating and waffling on this, give me the Buffalo Bills to win this game. I can't trust Lamar.
Wait, didn't you say Ravens last time?
What?
Did you say Ravens last time?
I think I said Ravens last time, but I got to pick the Bills.
Why are you changing your picks?
I can't trust Lamar Jackson. I really can't trust Lamar Jackson. I know that Josh Allen, he's a dependable, reliable quarterback. He's got a strong arm, which will work in that weather, in the snow. He's also very shifty. He's very athletic. He's a good running quarterback. The Bills, Devin Singletary, hey, he was a pretty good running back before he got injured this season. The Bills with Diggs and all those receiving weapons that they've got. Their defense might not be the best defense in the world, but I think that Josh Allen, what he's done this year, he's been so great. I think Josh Allen will be able to, do good against this Baltimore defense in the snow. Give me Buffalo to win it. I'm going to pick Buffalo 24-21.
Firmin, what about you?
I think this is going to be a very close game because both offenses are really good. I don't trust Lamar as much, just like Isaiah said, but I still think he's going to have a field day against Buffalo, in my opinion. Josh Allen's also great. He's got a cannon arm. He's got a loaded offensive line who gives him so much time to throw the ball. But I know that Baltimore likes to blitz, so it's very interesting to find out how they're going to counter the Baltimore's pass rush, because that's going to be a really big concern for me watching the Bills play. Baltimore does have a great defense, but if Josh Allen's able to diagnose these wideouts like he's been doing the whole season and just make these quick, cannon arm throws to the receivers at the right spots, it's going to be very difficult for Ravens to catch up to their offense. I think both sides are going to have their own momentum swings throughout the game. So I believe that this game is going to be a shootout. in my opinion. I know that last week against the Colts, I predicted that it was not going to be a shootout, and I was right. But this week, I do believe this is going to be a shootout, but I have the Bills winning this 45-35.
Alrighty. And some picks from our viewers. Kiersey's going to go with the Bills, and Casey King is going to go with the Bills over the Ravens. Good picks by everyone here tonight. Let's move on to our next game. Our next game, we have Browns Chiefs. People are going to lean with the Chiefs on this game because, the Chiefs are the Super Bowl winning champs. They're going to try to defend their title. It's going to be a physical game from start to finish. But you could see the Chiefs come out a little flat since they're, coming off of the bye and they're now trying to prepare against the Browns. The Browns are probably fired up since they just shocked the Steelers. So they have a lot of ego and a lot of swagger with them. But I think Patrick Mahomes will try to find a way to pull this game out. So that's why I'm going to go with the Chiefs in this one. Isaiah.
Give me the Chiefs in this game because I just think that they have more weapons on offense than the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, Baker, even though Baker had that good performance last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm still unsure about Baker Mayfield. I'm not sure if, he can put a team on his back and really carry a team, but I don't think he will have to this week because the Kansas City Chiefs, they have one of the worst rush defenses in the NFL. I think Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb are going to have a field day, but I just think that the defense will not be able to contain Patrick Mahomes just like they did last week with Big Ben Roethlisberger. I don't think that they will be able to get the lucky breaks that they got last week. Give me the Chiefs to beat the Browns. I think it's going to be a close game, though. I got Kansas City winning this game 31-27.
All right, and Firmin, your pick.
So this is a really good matchup because I'm really proud for the Browns of what they've been able to accomplish this season, and I was really happy for them with the way they played against the Steelers in the playoffs. They just went straight to scoring 28 points in the first quarter really fast. But that's also one of my concerns for this team because I felt like a lot of the momentum from that game was won because of the turnovers from the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Ben Roethlisberger, he's known to have one of these crazy games where he just, doesn't have anything going and he just throws the game away. And Roethlisberger's second half to the season against Pittsburgh was pretty much the same story. And I kind of foreshadowed everything that was going to happen in that matchup. And I had a feeling Roethlisberger was just not going to have any offensive chemistry. And the Browns just scored off of turnovers. But in reality, can Baker really do it all by himself? In my opinion, I don't think so. I know a lot of people are like, wow, Baker turned this franchise around. Now they're 11-5 and they have a successful ball club. But I think the main reason why they're succeeding right now is because of their run game with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. So Baker, I can rely on him making game managing throws, but if he really has to get on the field and administer these comeback drives, I've seen him throw a lot of inaccurate passes that were really easy throws. So, and I'm also concerned about his footwork. If any of those factor into this game, which I believe it will, because Kansas City is a really high-powered offense with Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield has to come back late in the fourth quarter in order to make this one close. And I don't think he has the capacity to do it. I think Kansas City is going to start out clicking fast and strong in the second quarter, not the first, the second quarter. That's where Kansas City has their momentums usually. And Baker Mayfield, you can't just run the ball all the time. You're going to have to pass a lot in order to catch up with this offense. So I'm going to have to give this one to Kansas City 31-20.
All right, good picks and some picks from our viewers tonight. We have Kirsty Wilson going with the Kansas City Chiefs. Casey King is going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs pulling away in the second half to beat the Browns. You have James Gonzalez going with the Browns. So he wants the Browns to win, ladies and gentlemen. And Callum McClurk has made a fantastic comment. He is watching you, Isaiah. But that pick is the last pick of the night, though. So we'll have to, wait and see what you say.
I thought we got two more.
Yeah, we got two more. I said it's the last pick.
Oh,
The
okay.
Saints and Bucks game. That's the game he's talking about.
Thank goodness he didn't see the Bills Ravens.
All right, let's move on to our second to last pick tonight, gentlemen. We have the Rams and Packers. I'm going with the Packers. It's Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Fame season. He's going to try to push his way through and try to get himself a second Lombardi trophy. It's probably going to be against Patrick Mahomes, but we have to wait and see. Oh no, Callan has broken into the chat. He says, "Don't make me join the StreamYard. Don't join, Callan. You're going to mess up the counter if you join. Please don't join." But Isaiah, what is your pick?
Man, if I'm really gonna stick to the same script that I had on Wednesday, I'm gonna look like a total idiot for this. But you know what? I'll do it. Whatever. Give me the Rams to pull off the upset over the Green Bay Packers. I haven't believed in the Green Bay Packers all year long. I thought they were frauds for beginning of the season until now. Their defense is awful. Aaron Rodgers, he's great with Devontae Adams and the rest of the gang on offense. But I just think the Rams, if they can run what the 49ers did in the NFC Championship, I think they will be able to win this football game. Just got to follow the same recipe that the Niners provided you with last season, which is running the football effectively, running the football heavily. Jared Goff, do not make any mistakes, and the defense, play your butts off, because if you can run the football if you can run the football and stick with the running game, I think you're going to have a lot of success, because the Packers are one of the worst rush defenses in the NFL, along with the Kansas City Chiefs. Give me the Rams to win this game because the Rams, they got Akers, they got Darrell Henderson, Malcolm Brown, a three-headed monster. I think those three guys are going to have monster days against the Green Bay Packers. And I think Jared Goff is just going to do just enough to win this football game like he did last week. And the defense, I think, is going to, play outstanding football like they did last week against Russell Wilson. Give me the Rams in this game. I'm going to go with a 17-14 win by the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, slugfest right there, Isaiah. That is a nice slugfest number. Firmin, what is your pick?
I think Aaron Rodgers this year is the front runner for the MVP this season. Is that correct?
I think so.
So I've definitely seen a lot of great things with him throughout his career. He's an amazing quarterback. I think he's probably one of the greatest of all time, comparable and even possibly better than Tom Brady. And this was his record season too. I think I've never seen him throw like 48 touchdowns before. This is amazing with what his offense has done so far this season. However, I am not buying into this Green Bay Packers Aaron Rodgers hype. I think just as usual, they're going to fall short. And Matt LaFleur's offense does not lead a team like the Packers to succeed that far into the playoffs, especially like in the postseason. They're pretty good in the regular season, just like last year. But if you're going to be in the postseason, it's a whole different level. It's a whole different game plan. And I've seen the main issues with this Green Bay Packers system offensively and defensively. Whenever Aaron Rodgers has to play against a good defense, he always struggles against them. And that's what happened last year with the 49ers. If you have a really complete team defensively that Aaron Rodgers has to play against, especially with Matt LaFleur's offense right now, it does not fit his role well. And he basically has to really, I think right now Aaron Rodgers, despite his crazy numbers, in reality, I think they're all just game managing numbers. A lot of the credit has to go with the entire system as a whole, not just Aaron Rodgers, but also Aaron Jones staring down Devontae Adams. I think Jalen Ramsey is probably going to match up with him. So if he doesn't have his usual targets, because the Rams have the best defense in the NFL right now statistically. So if they're still going to play to this level right now, like they did against Seattle, if they disrupt the pass rush, if they find a way to just stuff Aaron Jones every play, and if Jalen Ramsey somehow can contain Devontae Adams every play, you've basically deciphered the entire Green Bay Packers offense. And now the only thing left for the Rams to do is just run the same offense the 49ers did. All they did was just run the ball with Raheem Mostert every play, and every single drive was a touchdown. And it's as simple as that for the Rams game plan. I know the Rams this year, their offense is kind of iffy, but a lot of their offense has to do with establishing strong run games. And if you're against the Green Bay Packers, that is their biggest kryptonite. So I think this is going to be a very simple game plan for the Rams. Just keep running the ball. You don't have to force Jared Goff to pass the ball that much because, clearly the Green Bay Packers, they've struggled against the run, and Jared Goff, he's not the best passer this year, and he's also dealing with an injury. But if you've got a strong run game with Cam Akers, Malcolm Brown, this is going to definitely, in my opinion, favor the Rams for almost the entire game. And it's going to be I'm going to predict that this game's not going to be close at all until the fourth quarter when Aaron Rodgers has a couple comeback drives. So I have the Rams emerging in a huge lead, but they're still going to win this by one score of 27-20.
Good picks. I'll read some comments. James Gonzalez says Ramsey on Adams will be fun to watch. I think you're 100% right with that. It's going to be definitely interesting to see what happens tomorrow. And Casey King is going to go with his Rams, ride or die all the way to the end in his beautiful comment right here. And then James Gonzalez to finish this game is if the Rams win tomorrow, anything is possible. So we have to see what happens. But now on to our last pick'ems of the night, gentlemen, is the Buccaneers Saints game. Isaiah, I see you shaking your head. Are you going to stun the fans tonight by, picking something that you said one night and now you're going to change your mind? So lay it on us. Now, I hope Callan is watching so he knows what you say.
This game is a very, very hard game to pick because I think you guys know this. Every year I pick a team to ride with, in the playoffs until they win the Super Bowl. And this year, the team that I picked was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I really want, that Buccaneers team with Bruce Arians, Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans to go in and win the Super Bowl this year. But I think on Wednesday I said the Saints. And then I've just been going back and forth between the Bucs and the Saints. 1 hour it's the Bucs, the other hour it's the Saints, and then the next hour it's the Bucs. But after considering all the facts, I got to stick with my prediction. I don't trust that Tampa Bay defense. That Tampa Bay And I know Callan is saying that he's watching, but don't worry, Callan. Go back to the Buffalo Bills-Ravens game and watch that after you're done with this. But I don't trust that Tampa Bay defense when the blitz doesn't get home to the opposing quarterback. Their secondary looks lost. Their linebackers look lost. Last week, like I said earlier, you had like 2 or 3 Washington football team wide receivers open on every play. It was just very, very stunning. And I just think that Tampa Bay, if their defense can't get their act together, they are screwed. And I just don't have any confidence in the Carlton Davis, the Sean Murphy Buntings, the Levante Davids, and the Devin Whites of the world to get their act together. Give me Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints to end Tom Brady's dream of a 7th Super Bowl championship this season. I'm going to go with New Orleans to win this football game. And I think New Orleans wins it pretty handily too. I think New Orleans wins this football game. I'm going to say 38-28.
And Callan says he's not going to go watch the Bills and Ravens selection that you said. The only game he cares about is this game we're talking about here. So when his comment comes rolling through, I'll definitely put it on the screen. But Firmin, what do you think is going to happen? Who you got, the Bucs or the Saints in this one?
I hope I don't shock anybody with what I'm about to say. And I'm also doing this live, by the way. So I haven't prepared for anything in these pigskin pick'ems. So I basically explained my takes already, like for the Bucks and Saints in the previous segment when we talked about them. And I believe it was a topic on Tom Brady versus Drew Brees, which one's the better X factor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've explained it already in that segment. So here's my pick, guys. I got the Saints winning this one 56-13.
But 56-13 though.
I think
That is
it's
a
gonna be the biggest
beatdown.
blowout for Tom Brady, and I don't think he's gonna enjoy the end to the season. I think this is gonna because look, man, the Saints. I told you they ran a they ran a Matt Nagy offense the entire season, and now they just got Michael Thomas back. They got pretty much the biggest weapons, the best play calls that you'll ever have for that offense. And how is Tampa Bay going to stop that? I don't think it's possible to stop that type of offense. Even Taysom Hill won as a starter with this offense. Like he won a lot of games actually. So this is crazy. I think Drew Brees wasn't even trying. I don't even think Drew Brees was even trying this season. He did get hurt, and when he wasn't hurt, trust me, I had him on my fantasy team. I don't think this guy put 100% effort out there. But if he does with all these weapons back, it's going to be the biggest blowout you'll ever see in the NFL playoffs.
Wow, 56-13. That is a bold take. I don't think anyone would say Tom Brady would ever get blown out in a playoff scenario, but who knows? You could actually be right. And then, like, you were able to take a fantasy football team that was projected to go 2-12, but you won the whole thing. So anything's literally possible from you now. But you know,
and I also like to mention one other thing. In 2000, the Giants beat the Vikings or something, 41-0, only to get blown out by the Ravens 34-7, I think. So anything can happen, guys. Do not count out these picks because anything is possible.
Yep, and not Firmin. James Gonzalez says, your take is not that crazy. So, anything is possible at this point. I think that's going to be the new motto for anything. Anything is possible on No BS at this point. And James Gonzalez says he doesn't trust the Bucks playing the Saints, and Tampa Bay got slaughtered in both matchups badly. So that's why he probably says your take is not that bad. And then Casey King, for us, he's think is going to be a tough game, better defenses. The Saints got a better defense, and with that, it's going to be a close game, 24-20. But we'll see what happens. But it's not going to be a surprise if the Bucks win for him. So we have to keep it going. And Kirsty Wilson is going to go with the Saints. Just can't bet against Drew Brees because that breeze is rolling in. And now, gentlemen, we get now ready for our Power 5 segment. Keeping us in the line of the realm of sports for tonight's Power 5, we're going to go with the top 5 stadium foods to get at a football game or any type of sporting event. So when you're at a game, what type of food do you normally would like to order, or you see that's order and you always go for it? So I'll go with Isaiah because Isaiah has some beautiful graphics images to share with our loyal fans tonight.
Yes, I do, Trevor. So actually, before I get into my top 5, I'm gonna actually give a quick honorable mention. The honorable mention on my list, if I can pull up that picture, is the garlic fries. The garlic fries at the Oakland Coliseum, they're amazing, man. It's so good. It's salted just right. With that with like real garlic too. It's not like fake garlic that they have at McDonald's, but it's real garlic, like salted pretty good. Those garlic fries at the Oakland Coliseum are fantastic. But number 5 on my list, Trevor, is the hot dog. Plain and simple, the hot dog. Every time you go to a ball game, you have to get either a hot dog or a hamburger, and I always like to go with the hot dog. Number 4 on my list will be the Cracker Jack. It's nice, it's sweet, it's a simple snack, and it's not even that expensive either. I know when I go to work for the A's, I think I get it for like $3. It's pretty cheap, so it's pretty good when you're not feeling like that hungry and you want like a big meal. It's just perfect. Number 3 on my list will be the pepperoni pizza and the Oakland Coliseum. They have a restaurant there that makes the perfect pepperoni pizza. It's called Brick Oven Pizza, where they make the pizza live in front of you right as you're ordering, and they put it in the 460-degree brick oven, and they bake it for you for like 15 minutes. It is hot, nice, and fresh when you get it, and it's delicious. It's only $15, so it's not bad compared to like getting getting other foods at a stadium. That price is actually pretty good.
Wait. So you said it takes 15 minutes to put it in the oven and it serves to you, and it costs $15. So it's $1 a minute in the oven.
Hey, I would rather have that than have like regular pizzas that is not like made in front of me or baked, like that is like freshly baked, because you don't know not how much, but you don't know how like long they keep it in like a microwave or whatever. So
Sorry to interrupt, man, but I think this pizza, whoever made this pizza probably rolled it up like 30 seconds late. They did it last minute and gave you that meal for like $11, man. I'm sorry.
That picture was actually taken, I believe, when we went to one of the A's games from a couple of years ago. But that is number 3, I believe, on my list. Let's see, number 2 on my list. I gotta go with the mac and cheese with hot dogs. This costs only $7 at the Oakland Coliseum. Plus, it comes in a nice Oakland A's helmet, which you can use as a souvenir after you're done. It helps you, it's delicious. It helps you, gain your energy. Really good. Plus, it comes into a nice helmet.
Why is that number 2 though?
I mean, Trevor, it's mac and cheese, it's hot dogs.
No, the mac and cheese is fine, but the hot dogs just don't look like they're finished.
What do you mean? I mean, who doesn't like mac and cheese with hot dogs?
But the hot dog doesn't look finished. You gotta have a grilled hot dog. You can't have something that looks like you just microwaved it.
I can't believe this is number 2.
Hey, and it comes in an A's helmet, so it gives you a nice souvenir. And number 1, this is my favorite food when I go to an A's game or any other, or a Niners game or whatever. It is the loaded tater tots. The tater tots with, I think it's sour cream plus cheese sauce, bacon. It's perfect, man. It is so perfect. I get that every time I go to a ball game. You just can't go to a ball game without having that. That is just so good.
All right. Before I go into Firmin's Power 5, I'll read Kirsty Wilson's Power 5. Her Power 5 is popcorn at number 5. Number 4, nachos. Number 3, hot dogs. Number 2, French fries. And her number 1 is salted pretzels with nacho cheese. And her husband and her often, think that is I've gotten that in the past. So that's what we're going with on that. And then honorable mention is a chili cheese fries. That's pretty good. And James Gonzalez, I think, has probably one of the best comments tonight. He knew this was going to be food related. I was talking with Isaiah of other Power 5s, and he started listing food ones at me. So I was like, let me just settle with this for the man and just go with the food topic. But Firmin, what is your Power 5 for top 5 stadium foods?
Trevor, are you done yet with your picks?
Yeah, my picks are done.
All right, man.
If you need more
because
time, I can rattle mine off.
no. I have my picks already, but I'm just gonna start off by saying I am not a huge fan of stadium food. I'm sorry, Isaiah, because a lot of the food that I've seen are way too overpriced. So I've never developed a habit in getting too much stadium food or concession food. However, I would say there are a lot of unique types of food that I see a lot in these stadiums that really catch my attention. And I'm just about to eat dinner right now, so I'm really hungry. But I'll start off with number 5. Um, I'm gonna have to give this to a dessert because I'm not a biggest fan of dessert, but whichever stadium has Dippin' Dots is my favorite stadium to go to. My favorite arena because these are one of the best tasting ice creams out there, especially if you got some Oreos and it's a really hot day and you're watching a game. You gotta cool it down somehow. So if somebody has Dippin' Dots nearby, that is the perfect dessert to get right after you watch the game, or even during the game, actually. Number 4, I'm gonna have to give this to the salted pretzels. I think nobody can get away from this. This is really, really good. I think every single concession should have this. It is also huge. So like, even if you don't finish it, you can at least share it with somebody else. So it's definitely going to have to be on top of my list somehow. And number 3, I'm going to have to give this to hot dogs or corn dogs because these are really amazing. Anytime you're out on a hot day, whether it's a picnic, you're watching a game, going to Costco even, you can't miss out on the hot dogs or the corn dogs. It's always going to have to be a priority. And for number 2, I actually grouped this one into a big category because anything with garlic is really, really good. And I think some of you guys have already mentioned it. Garlic fries was one of them. And garlic fries, I think garlic fries are like the signature stadium foods like out there because it's really good. It's authentic. Not a lot of places have it. Not even fast food restaurants have garlic fries as good as stadium fries. So I can't get away with that. Lobster rolls, they usually, sometimes they're flavored with garlic. So it's really good. You can't miss out on that. Garlic knots, if I see any of those are also great. And before I get into number 1, I'll get into some honorable mentions. My first honorable mention are the churros. Anytime I see churros in any concessions, or if it's really cheap and I could just pick it up with a combo meal, I can't get away with churros. They're really good. I love that cinnamon taste as well as like the crunchy feeling after you eat it. It is amazing. So I can't wait to, after a pandemic to get back and, watch a game and eat a churro. My second honorable mention, this is a really tough one. I could have put this at number 1, but I'm going to have to go classic with this. I'm going to give this to the baked potato. Any stadium that has a baked potato, you're on for a good treat because I'm going to eat a lot of those. Those are really good. Even if you have potato skins, if any arena or stadium makes those, I'll be down to get any of those, even if it's expensive. So now those are my honorable mentions. And now for number 1, my all-time favorite food, in my opinion, to get at the stadium are chicken wings. So if you guys have chicken wings, or if any stadiums has chicken wings, I'm always down to get every single bit of those. And even if I share it with like a party, it's great to have because it's your typical signature food to eat. Like I said, to watch games or picnics or anything. I just love to dip all those wings in some cool ranch and then have some celery or carrots on the side. It's just amazing, man. I can't miss out on that. And I need those B-dub vibes, the Buffalo Wild Wings vibes every time I'm out there watching games. So this has to be number 1 on my list.
Good picks, Firmin. Some good picks. Before I get into mine, I'll read some of our viewers' picks as well with Casey King. So his number one is the grilled Dodger dog at Dodger Stadium. His number two pick is garlic fries both at Dodger Stadium and the Oakland Coliseum. Number three is Italian sausage at Miller's Park in Milwaukee. Number four is soft pretzels with nacho cheese. Number five, it's a tie between the Philly cheesesteak and Philly. Boom. Beautiful. I love it. And James Gonzalez, I know when you were talking about Dippin' Dots, he says his favorite dessert at baseball games or any type of game he goes to is Dippin' Dots. And he agrees with you. Way overpriced. I agree with you on that. Everything is overpriced at the stadium, like bottled water, way too expensive. James Gonzalez again with his chicken tenders and fries are his go-to favorite if he's hungry at an Angels game. And then at Petco Park for San Diego has the garlic fries, and you can smell them as soon as you know right away at the Padres game. Then you have Callan in there at Petco Park with a nice great emoji and a beer. And I would have to say is the current, I have no idea how to pronounce that. I feel so bad.
Carne asada fries.
Thank you, Isaiah. But Isaiah doesn't know what those are. I kind of have to agree. I don't know what they are. Maybe when Calvin returns, he can bring them on set and show them to us to continue the food streak on No BS. And for my Power 5 segment, gentlemen, I will start off with number 5. It's the Great American Hot Dog. You can't go to a baseball game and not have a hot dog at any sporting event. And what makes a hot dog special and why it is capped at number 5 is Dollar Dog Night. When hot dogs are only $1, you can just go off. You give the cashier a $5 bill and you get 5 hot dogs for $5. That is a steal in ballpark history right there. That's like stealing bases at the crucial part in the game, or it's like a grand slam. That's what Dollar Dog Night is to me. Number 4, we going with some more beef. We got the burgers in the place. The burgers are nice and stacked. It's beautiful. You get your cheese, your lettuce, your onions, and put it on a nice burger and get a nice side of fries. Beautiful. That's why I have burgers in the 4th spot. The top 3 were hard to figure out, but before I get to the top 3, I'll throw one honorable mention in there. Well, 2 honorable mentions. You have Italian ice. You got that nice on a hot day. So like Rita's Italian ice is always a nice thing to have at a nice ball game. And the other one is cotton candy. Cotton candy is always a good one to get definitely at a basketball game, because I remember that as a childhood. But continue with that basketball game theme is the popcorn. You get a nice big box of popcorn and you just eat it, watching slam dunks happen, watching a deep 3 at these basketball games. And that's why I put popcorn as my number 3. My number 2, I will have to go with the nachos. You can't go wrong with nachos. Everyone gets nachos at a game. You see it everywhere you go. You see people ordering nachos. So you can't have nachos not on your list. So you have to add them.
Trevor.
Yes.
Before you continue, I just wanted to say, nachos, yes, with the chips and the cheese sauce, but no, not the jalapenos. I cannot.
Yeah, I know you can't handle hotness.
Yes, I can't handle spicy foods.
But you get some hot takes. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up.
That's how weak, my stamina is when it comes to handling spicy foods. But go ahead, Trevor.
And my number 1 is the chicken tenders. You can't leave the chicken tenders off this list, because chicken tenders are amazing. You can get them at any sporting venue, and they're just a classic. You get 3 chicken strips, 3 golden chicken strips with a basket of fries, and you can put any type of sauce you want on the chicken tenders. It's perfect. And I named my fantasy team the True Contenders and spelled it as chicken tenders, like the contender word. That's why I have chicken tenders at the top of my list there. And that's why me and Callan's rivalry trophy will either try to be a chicken tender or a chicken. We'll have to stay in tune just and see what we come up with. But we'll have Callan's pick before we move into our final segments. So Callan's pick is the ice cream helmet. His number 4 pick is hot dogs. His number 3 pick is pizza. His number 2 pick is pretzels with cheese, and his number 1 pick is the tri-dip nachos. And, James Gonzalez's chicken tenders for the win. Yes. And then Callan replies with yes, plenty of jalapenos on his nachos. And that will take us, gentlemen, to our final thoughts. All right, Isaiah, we passed 90 minutes on the show, but let's go on to our final thoughts. So, how you feeling? How'd you like the show? And give us our final thoughts.
Well, Trevor, before I get into my final thoughts, I also want to throw out one more honorable mention that I forgot to throw in when I was giving my Power 5, and that is the Polish hot dog. It is like cook it right in front of you. They add the green peppers and the onion. It's just really good. Definitely recommend you guys all to go try it. But Trevor, it's been a tremendous show. I want to thank all the viewers out there for tuning in and watching our show tonight. I want to thank James Gonzalez, Callum McClurg for taking the time to tune in after a busy day that he had, as well as Shardo Gupta, Christy Wilson, Casey King. Let's see, who else do we have here? Don't want to leave anybody out. I think that might be it. Oh, Charlie Montooth, as well as Stephen Wang, and also we had
I think we had East Coast Gridiron.
We had the East Coast podcast. Really appreciate you guys for checking us out. But Trevor, it was a great show, man. Glad that we got to get through all the topics and make our picks, and then list out the Power 5. That's always the fun part of No BS. But man, it wasn't the same without Callan. It kind of felt different, but hey, season 3 is off to a strong start, and let's continue this, man. And go Buccaneers on Sunday. Go Buccaneers. Go Tom Brady. I know I picked the Saints, but I'm going to be rooting hard for Tom Brady and the Bucs because I want to see the Bucs face Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl and end that Kansas City dynasty.
All right, and Firmin, final thoughts.
It was a great show with all of you guys. I really enjoyed it. I just want to thank everybody out there that's listening. We had a lot of fun talking about all those pigskin takes, especially, and then also the Power 5 with all the top stadium foods. Definitely got me really hungry. And also, I'm really excited to see how the games will turn out tomorrow and also Sunday for football. Everybody had their own interesting takes on who they think is going to win. And I think this playoff is going to be really interesting. I know Isaiah just said that, I believe he just said that he wants Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs to go all the way. And I do believe in that. It's definitely possible. But you also have some teams, like I believe, Saints and Bucks is a really good matchup. Rams and Packers as well. Those are really, I think all of these games, Ravens and Bills, they're going to be really close and could go both ways. Actually, not the Saints and Bucks, but every other game could go both ways. But yeah, it's a very interesting season. I can't wait to sit back and relax and just enjoy those games. And I hope you guys will as well. And just keep our picks in mind. And let's see who gets the best outcome out of all of us.
All right. And Casey King and his final thoughts was it's a great show. And for me, it's been a fantastic show, though we missed Callan. And as you can see, I changed my name to Days Without Callan. It's only been one day. I thought I could, cross the show over into midnight so I could change it on air to say day 2 because it's on the East Coast because it would be the next day. But, maybe on another episode, you can change it. I can change it during mid-episode on that for sure.
40 minutes away. You want to do 40 more minutes?
No, I don't want to do 40 more minutes. I got a trip to go back to Ohio to, work on my spring semester and my last semester at Ohio State. So I need all the rest for my nice long drive out to Ohio. But I know we have some announcements before we sign off. The first announcement is that Freddie Henderson will be joining Wild Sports Talk starting Wednesday, January 20th. So make sure you tune in to Wild Sports Talk on January 20th to see Freddie Henderson and the Wild Sports Talk crew. And then, our typical, platform on Mondays, Wild Sports Talk is at 7:30 Pacific time. Tuesdays, I guess no longer the Sports Lounge. I think we have a gap in there. I think we need to make some quick adjustments to our schedule. Wednesdays, we are back at it with Wild Sports Talk. Thursdays is the one-man show or that one dude. So I think our program needs to do some updates. So we'll make a new imagery slide. Fridays, you're back at it with us, No BS, 6:30 Pacific time. And then you have Saturdays with fan response and the night shift. And then Sundays to close us out for the week with the night shift. And I think that will do it for us. Well, Isaiah's gave me a quick update about fan response. It'll be at 12 p.m. Pacific time on Saturday. Is that correct, Isaiah?
Yeah, that's correct. 12 p.m. Pacific time. Steven and Ryan will join you guys on the air, and on fan response starting tomorrow, you guys will actually be able to call in to the show and give your guys' opinions and takes on whatever they are talking about. We are going to have the link for StreamYard on listed in the comments section of the video, so make sure you guys go check that out. Wake up early, go check that out, and call in, and give Steven and Ryan a call and talk to them about whatever they're talking about tomorrow.
All right, and that will do it for us here on No BS on the concluding the first episode of season 3. Please stay safe, everyone, as the year goes on, and stay healthy. I know it's a tough time that we're in, but we'll get through it, and No BS will be alongside you to get you through whatever 2021 throws at you this year. And that will do it for us at No BS. Take care and stay safe.
Yeah. 3-6, Mafia. Whoa. Hey. Yeah. Whoa. Say what? Whoa. 3-6, Mafia. It's going down. Y'all know what time it is.